everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today I thought I would tell you guys what I ended up reading in February because we're almost halfway through March and I'm only sitting down to film right now. So a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. Anyways, ended up finishing 4 books, so let's talk about some books. So the first book I ended up finishing was Unlocked by Shannon Messenger. This is the 8.5 in this series called Keeper of Lost Cities. I ended up reading the majority of this book in January because I read like over 500 pages in this then, and I only ended up finishing the last like 250 pages in it in February. But basically this is a recap of what's happened in the first 8 books. Get to know the details about the characters, where they come from, their magical abilities, stuff about plants, food, potions, stuff like that. And also in the end there's like a 200-page short story from Kifi's point of view. And I did definitely think that the recap was interesting, definitely very well needed before I plow on through the 9th book in the series, but I also felt like it was a little bit long, guys, because I got a little bit tired halfway through. But the short story was interesting. It was really fun to read from Kifi's point of view, although it kind of made me like Kifi a little bit less, I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like he was more fun and more like happy-go-lucky, even though he's having sort of a tough time while reading from Sophie's point of view, and now he's jumping back and forth between Sophie and Kifi. And I don't know, I just liked his voice better when we didn't actually get to read from his voice. Does that make any sense? I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And they ended up giving this like a weak 4 stars out of 5. And then we have a reread, which was The Dark Talent by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 5th book in Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians series. I have been reading this entire series to be able to read the 6th and final book, which came out last year. And if you want to know what I thought about reading them and what I thought about the last book in the series, just check out my reading vlog, which is already up. I'll link it down below if you're interested. But yeah, I love this series so much. In the first one we meet Alcatraz. He's just turned 12 or 13th. And we meet him on his birthday. He is an orphan, but he ends up getting this sort of package from his long lost dad, who he actually thought, you know, was dead. And it's just this mysterious bag of sand, and then he realizes that it has been stolen. And the next day an old man comes knocking on his door saying that, you know what, I'm your grandpa. And he's like, what? That basically sums it up, because it's a lot of what kind of situations. Highlands. Anyways, there's some sort of magical abilities here. Very weird ones, very funny ones, kind of different, which is why I like this series so much. And also it has beautiful illustrations by Hilo Lasso, and yeah, it's a really quick read. So I ended up giving this book 5 out of 5 stars for the 2nd time. And then I ended up reading one of my most anticipated releases, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the sort of secret project, in the sort of Kickstarter that he did in the beginning of 2022. Was it? I don't know. It was a long time ago. Anyways, I finally got my hands on this. It was marvelous, of course. So basically we meet Tress. She's been living on this island her entire life. You're not allowed to leave it unless you're like royalty or in sort of a diplomatic position or anything. The natives have to stay on the island. Thing is that these islands are made up by sort of spores, and spores are very dangerous if they get wet, because shit will start growing and it may or may not kill you, which is also why it's so dangerous to cross, you know, the seas and the oceans and stuff. And Tress has no plans whatsoever to ever leave the island until her friend goes missing, and she ends up, you know, joining some pirates to rescue her friend. And I love this book so much, and it was a really quick read. It was interesting. As always, amazing character developments, magic system. I love the spore part because there's a lot of shit to learn about that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then last but not least, but might be the thinnest, is Bastille versus the Evil Librarians. This is the 6th and final book in Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians series by Brandon Sanderson. This is also co-written with Jancy Patterson, and as always illustrated by Haley Lasso. So this is supposed to be the final book in this series. I've been waiting years for this one after having wanted to throw the 5th book like across the room when I finished it the first time, and honestly the second time as well. So I had really high hopes for this one, and I'm really sad to say that I didn't really live up to my expectations. You can definitely tell that Brandon Sanderson did not write this all on his own. Definitely some influences by Jancy Patterson. And I thought it would be fun to read from Bastille's point of view, but it's all just, I don't know. Their voices are kind of similar in a way, I guess. But she's not as cool in this book as she's in the previous books. And all of her thoughts and feelings makes her more kind of mushy instead of the like hard-ass, kick-ass, sort of sarcastic character we know and love her as. And some things was just a little bit too convenient, and I just didn't really like how things worked out. And unfortunately I ended up giving this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is definitely not what I had anticipated picking this book up. So yeah, those were the 4 books I ended up finishing in the month of February. And please let me know down below what you read in the month, and what you thought about them without spoiling, of course. And yeah, I hope to see each other in the next one. Bye.